Hello everyone, it finally happened. I caught up to myself. I have yet to finish editing the Naruto video, and the only YouTube video after that one for the P4G series will be the Adachi segment, aside from, of course, the big final video with all the extra content. I really go into beating myself up over it, despite it being over an hour long. You know, I've always had this sort of starry-eyed feeling that if I express myself, if I study or work as hard as I can, then I will succeed, and this series has been a real test of that. This Persona 4 video that I have divided into over 30-part series is the biggest thing that I've ever worked on in my entire life, and the biggest testament to my ability to work on a singular thing with as much passion as I can muster. I started October of last year gathering footage and searching, maybe September actually. I finished writing the series in January of 2022, then after fully completing 10 segments ahead of time, started releasing the segments weekly on February 5th. Right before the first part of the series released, starting January 20th, I started having immense pain to the point where I had trouble walking and trouble doing anything. And although I scheduled the first 3 parts ahead of time, I had an emergency surgery where I was taken from an ambulance on the night of February 3rd. Then I was put under, and most of February 4th was spent in a hospital. I was too weak to drive, and an ice storm had come in that night, making the roads difficult to drive. At the time, I was living alone, an hour from where my sister was going to college. And gratefully, after some convincing, unfortunately, my girlfriend at the time and my sister picked me up from the hospital and drove me to my apartment. I had someone help me walk to the bathroom for 3 days before I more or less was able to just lean on the wall and slowly do it myself. It took 2 weeks to fully recover to a point where I could kind of move around like normal, although I was still advised not to lift anything or move too fast or be physically active for another couple months. So after 4 months of endless work and planning, it almost went completely down the drain. In late March, I broke up with that girlfriend of 8 months, something that I had kept private because I wasn't sure how long it would last or if it was for real. The first semi-long girlfriend that I had had since dropping out of college, too, mainly because I spend so much of my time focusing on YouTube. In April, I moved to Austin with some of my other content creator buddies to save money, since I accrued a bunch of debt from my surgery after my financial situation had gotten to only a small fraction of what it was in 2020. Over these months, I've had nights and days where I genuinely wonder if I'm cut out for life. If my best is good enough. If I could survive in the real world at all, or if my current world is even sustainable. I convinced myself that it was my authentic self that people liked from my original videos on my YouTube channel. That after a life of feeling like the odd one out and wondering if anyone, even my own family, cared about me or thought how I did, I found that how I did things, there was tons of people there who would relate to me. The affirmation of my angst and loneliness made me feel like maybe I really did have a place in the world alongside others. But as I got older, sometimes I wonder if my time has already come and gone. If my odd one out feeling is just pastiche and something that should be replaced by someone else. I don't think people realize just how much work this series has been. The P4G analysis project is twice as long as a PhD graduate paper, and if you were to take my hours of work and put a wage on it, I'd be making less than 50 cents an hour. But at the same time, it feels like this is the only thing I can do, and for the actual work part of it, I do love doing it. I don't mean to be entitled or rude or bitter, but I'll admit, some days I do find myself really jealous, seeing so much less effort in projects other people do, getting off the ground, wondering what I could be doing wrong, why my videos weren't succeeding like they used to on the main channel, my side one. This P4G series was going to be my last hurrah, for YouTube and maybe for life. I don't know what I could do to prove that I matter to people, or that I could offer anything more to the world than something this elaborate and extensive. So I tried the biggest thing I could think of. Funny thing, this P4G analysis series started as an estimate of a 4 to 5 hour project. But the more I looked in and researched, and the more I realized how much needed to be dived into that had never been touched on by other YouTubers, it began to expand into what it is now. something that'll eventually be almost 15 hours long. I haven't been as open and personal as I should have been on this channel with the new people who have found me through here. I'm terrified of it. The idea of opening up for me and then being rejected. The cynical nature of the internet terrifies me. Being misunderstood or understood for what I'm not terrifies me. I guess I'm making this to say it's almost over. The Adachi segment and the Naoto segment are all that's left for the main series. Then I will drop a trailer. Then I will drop the full video version with all of the bonus content. The full video version is the intended way to view the series. Everything is in its proper order, and there is lots of bonus content, including a full music analysis with my friend, who is an actual composer. It'll include a foreword, an epilogue, bonus analysis tidbits all throughout. It's gonna finally be over. The closer I get to that end, though, I think about how it might fail. How all these bigger segments that had weeks, if not over a month or months, of work in each, how they aren't getting picked up at all. Maybe I'm overreacting, but at the same time, this is my life. Maybe this video will age like wine, and I'll prove myself wrong, or I'll feel embarrassed about posting it. But can you imagine how terrifying it is to dedicate all of yourself completely to something that you desperately want to save your life for a year, and not know if it'll be there to catch you? To try to mentally prepare for the huge pit in your stomach at the possible chance that it will flop and fall into obscurity? That an entire year of your limited life will melt away instantly from the public subconscious, never being seen, heard, or cared about, and your contributions will be ignored? I can barely imagine it myself, and I sit on the edge of it. It's becoming hard to finish this series because the end is coming. I want to do more series like this, but I only have so many years left. I'm tired of barely making it by, of being in debt, of being lonely and being alone. Like feeling that my only love is information I can gather, and fearing there will be no voice to hear it. This series is everything to me. Even if this series does well by a grand miracle, I know from my history of doing YouTube for 5 years now that many people, despite what they say, will leave you and move on to the next thing. People see me as entertainment. I'm not totally disillusioned to that fact. My life's work, my passion, my knowledge, they're all forgettable, digestible, recyclable, a square of noise that they put on their phone while they go to the bathroom or make lunch. It's not anyone's fault, though. I'm like that too with everything I consume. That's why it's all about statistical averages. If you can get enough new people, and enough new people after that, to keep maintaining a life doing what you want, then that's how you succeed. But I'm afraid I won't be able to do that. I'm afraid for when the debt collectors come to reap on my surgery that only happened because the doctors messed up in their evaluation the first 2 times I visited them in chronic pain in January. The rising prices of general goods and rent, people arguing over if we're in a recession. I want to live. I know this is a rambling nonsense video, but I want to be frank and straight with you all. Stream of conscious, kind of off the cuff. I'm not from a rich family. I wasn't meant to get this far. It's been a constant uphill battle, and I'm trying as hard as I can to get up there, like Sisyphus. And I'll keep trying, as long as it's possible, I guess. I don't know what to say. If you care about me doing this and want me to do more, please support the main P4G video once it drops in a little under 2 months. It's an entire condensed year of my life, all of my passion and work and effort. It's everything. And I can only do it so many times. And you are all my support. Anyone hearing this. You are all my hope. I have no family in a position to help me. My friends are trying their hardest to succeed like I am, so it would be horrible for me to ask and weigh them down. I want to bring more art into the world, to share the experiences I think are valuable, to be in a position where I can continue seeking the truth. I hope my passion and love will come across once the full series video drops, and I hope you'll stick around for what I try to do after it drops as well. Thank you, and I hope that there won't be any further delays with the last couple segments. Take care of yourselves. I appreciate all of you. Even if I don't get around to replying to all of your comments, I desperately try. I respond to dozens and dozens and dozens of comments every single video. I try to remember as many of your names as possible, anybody who comes into the Twitch chat and talks. It's parasocial, I know, my relationship with the internet, but I appreciate you. See you next week.